Hello and welcome to our latest unboxing video. I'm Eliza here at the Hatfield Public Library with a box of adult books. Looks like a mix of fiction and nonfiction. I'm going to start with a fun one. This is Super Bloom by Megan Tady. Local author Megan Tady. She emailed me and said, I just published my first book and I wanted to make sure that you didn't miss it. And then afterwards, I ended up talking to a few people who had just gone to her book party, which turns out it was right here in Hatfield at Black Birch Orchard. So yay for local authors. And this is a humorous book, which we all need more of, about a woman who works at a Vermont spa, but her life is not serene. She's grieving the death of her boyfriend. And then she ends up having to cater to a guest who's a hot-headed best-selling romance novel. But she decides, the main character decides she wants to write a novel herself rather than just helping out this other person. We have Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed, the best-selling author of Wild. So it turns out she, I guess, had a advice column called Dear Sugar. So this is excerpts from that, and then it says it has some new material, in addition to, I guess, what would have been in the newspaper. We have Drowning by T.J. Newman. This is called, subtitled The Rescue of Flight 1421. He wrote Falling. So this is a fictional thriller written by a former flight attendant. So I guess they know the ins and outs of flying. Yikes. This sounds so terrifying. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't see people are going to need a stronger stomach than me, but basically the airplane crashes in the water and they're trapped underneath, and but they like still have air trapped in the airplane, so the divers are trying to get to them. That sounds very intense, especially coming right off of the whole thing with the submarine. So, but I bet you it will be a page turner. We have Goodnight Irene. I love that title. I promise I won't sing the song. By Luis Alberto Urrea, who wrote House of Broken Angels. And this is a World War II about a woman who abandons her abusive fiance to enlist in the Red Cross and head to Europe. And so she makes friends. They end up in France. She has a love affair with a pilot. Yeah, so I guess the question is, are they all going to make it? That sounds like a really powerful story. I didn't read House of Broken Angels, but I heard from some patrons that it was just very powerful and well written. Back to the humorous side, we have Quietly Hostile by Samantha Irby. Says, Our Great Bard of Quarantine. So she writes sort of, I guess, humorous essays. And here she is on the back. So yeah, it's just all about all the humorous things that are happening in her life. Sleeping with the Ancestors, How I Followed the Footsteps of Slavery by Joseph McGill Jr. and Herb Fraser. So I didn't even know about this until I read about this book, and then I ended up reading all about it because it was so interesting. So Joseph McGill Jr. is the director of something called the Slave Dwelling Project, and the idea is to educate about slavery by actually having people sleep in the existing, still standing houses and cabins where slaves lived, or enslaved people lived, in before slavery was made illegal. And so it's all about sort of teaching history and having difficult conversations. Yeah, and so this is about his experience touring around, talking about the different houses and his conversations with people. And then I went on their website, and it turns out they have these events on a regular basis. There is one in Connecticut where you can go sort of like have these discussions and spend the night in these houses. So very, very interesting, something I didn't know was going on. We have The Late Americans by Brandon Taylor. A loose circle of friends and lovers. So yeah, So it takes place in Iowa City, and a frustrated poet, a dancer, a gosh. So basically, it sounds like four people who are like figuring things out. Um, Says Brandon Taylor's richest and most involving work of fiction to date. The House of Lincoln by Nancy Horan, who wrote Loving Frank, which was super popular. Um, So that was a historic novel. This is a historic novel that tells the story of Abraham Lincoln and how he went from a rumpled lawyer to U.S. president. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in that. And again, Loving Frank, like one of those ones that was really popular at the time, has maintained its popularity over the years. A lot of people really enjoyed that one. We have the Same Time Next Summer. This looks like a beachy read. It's a paperback. Annabel Monaghan. She wrote Nora Goes Off Script. So this is about a woman whose life is on track, and she has a doctor fiance, a great job. She's touring wedding venues, but she senses something is off. But she meets the guy who broke her heart when she was 16. Another one, paperback, definitely beachy feel. Summer Reading by Jenn McKinlay. And oh, this is so funny. So this is by the author of Nora Goes Off Script, and this is blurbed by the author of Nora Goes Off Script, but written by Jenn McKinlay. And it would be funny if they blurbed each other's. Uh, so So it says, when a woman who'd rather do anything than read meets a swoon-worthy bookworm, sparks fly. Oh my gosh, takes place on Martha's Vineyard, so local interest, semi-local. And there's one of the characters is a library director. Ha ha ha. But what is up with the main character who doesn't read books? Hopefully, even if she doesn't find love, she learns to love reading. That would be my goal. We have Beware the Woman by Megan Abbott. I've read a few of hers. They tend to be very intense, definitely page turners. Um, so the main character is newly married with a baby on the way. They go to visit her husband's father. Um, but then there's a health scare, and then it sounds like there's some dark family history. Two more. We have another copy of The Wager by David Grann, author of Killers of the Flower Moon, one of the sort of biggest nonfiction books right now about a very sort of shipwreck where maybe the story was not all that it seemed. And we have the Seven-Step Homestead, a guide for creating the backyard micro farm of your dreams. Wow, it looks so productive and busy. They've got chickens and a greenhouse and carrots, lots of pictures and charts. Looks like a good book to go through if you are looking for ideas, maybe trying to make more use of your garden. I'm done. I'll be back soon with more. Bye.